love, give me some love, give it all. His breath really said it all. His car was parked behind the back door. Tuxedo black, El Camino, 1969. Well, he said, give me some more love, give me some love, give it all. His filthy fingers said it all. Yeah. Give it all. Well, he said, give me some more love, give me some love, give it all. His lazy eyes said it all. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Well, he said, give me some more love, give me some love, give it all. Give me some more love, give me some love, give it all. He said, give me some more love, give me some love, give it all. Give me some more love, give me some love, give it all. All right, give it to me. Yeah. All right, come on, come on, come on, come on. Yeah, come on, come on, come on, come on. Well, he said, give me some love, give me some love, give it all. Give me some love, give me some love, give it all. Give me some love, give me some love, give it all. Give me some love, give me some love, give it all. Baby, give me some love. Well, na 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 na.
This is what I want now. No, I won't settle for anything else.
understand it, me all independent, so you had to have me for yourself. That was when I trusted you, when I could add up 2 and 2. When you promised we'd be together, you, me, forever. Now there's nothing left to lose. And though I understand it's hard sometimes to make up your mind in these trying times, yeah, I just can't accept you leaving me when I'm overseas with the heart so heavy. Think that I deserve the truth for once, not a guilty tone, 'cause you're not alone, yeah. You said you wanna come home, but I know you don't. So this time I won't hear it on the phone. If you got something to say to me, then say it to my face. What it's all about, why you're bailing out. Think you owe me an apology. Just say it to my face. You're sorry. You're so sorry. You're so sorry. You're so sorry. Say it to my face. You're sorry.
The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show.
Today is Wednesday, October 6, 2021. What does it say about America that the progress of so many people, particularly black people, and the voting rights, particularly of black people, are being held up by a relic called the filibuster and by the personal development of something analogous to what I believe Christian cinema believes is a romantic comedy? This is what we're dealing with. Let's unpack this today. We begin with On the Clock with Georgia Ford.
This morning, we take a look. More than 150,000 gallons of oil has spilled into the Pacific Ocean. A company who owns the pipeline has been cited more than 100 times in the last 10 years. And so many people are wondering why there wasn't more intervention from the government for a corporation that clearly has not been operating within the guidelines, the federal guidelines. And now 150,000 gallons of oil in the Pacific Ocean is not only threatening the wildlife that lives in the ocean, but potentially could cause harm to the people who live in California. I want to turn now to the latest coverage on this oil spill. I do believe we have the latest coverage from...
A large oil spill off the Southern California coast was described as an environmental catastrophe by the mayor of Huntington Beach on Sunday, as the breach of an oil rig pipeline left dead fish and birds strewn on the sand and offshore wetlands clogged with oil. The spill was caused by a breach connected to the Ellie oil rig and stretched from the Huntington Beach Pier down to Newport Beach, a stretch of coast popular with surfers and sunbathers. The oil rig was operated by Beta Offshore, a California subsidiary of Houston-based Amplify Energy Corporation.
One of the largest oil spills in the state's recent history, killing fish and birds and threatening local wetlands. Now, residents, business owners, and environmentalists are questioning whether authorities reacted quickly enough to contain it. A pipeline breach about 5 miles off the coast of Huntington Beach in Orange County sent approximately 126,000 gallons of oil into the Pacific Ocean, creating a slick that spanned about 8,320 acres, larger than the size of Santa Monica, infiltrated Talbert Marsh, a reserve home to dozens of species of birds. People who live and work in the area said they noticed an oil sheen and a heavy petroleum smell Friday evening. It wasn't until Saturday afternoon that the Coast Guard said an oil slick had been spotted and a unified command established to respond. And it took until Saturday night for the company that operates the pipeline believed responsible for the leak to shut down operation.
Now, Ben, this reminds me of the tragic BP spill that happened several years ago. But the thing it brings up for me most is the protesting that's been happening around Line 3. I mean, when you see oil spills like this, or the one that happened with BP, how is it that how is it that we're still allowing these pipelines to be constructed under our water sources?
Profit, money, greed, and the intentional dragging of the feet of the energy sector to transition to something that is sustainable. They understand the science. They understand the research. They understand what they're doing. But it doesn't stop them from continuing to do it because they have to hit those quarterly profit margins, and the environment be damned.
And it's sad because I feel like being here in Minnesota, where Enbridge is constructing Line 3, I've met so many water protectors, and a lot of them are Indigenous men and women who talk about the fact that our bodies are made up of about 80% water, and each and every one of us needs water to live. And so how can we, in our right mind, just as a people, allow these corporations to continue doing this? I mean, it feels as though there should be some intervention. I don't know how many more gallons of oil need to spill in the ocean before the government intervenes and starts to outlaw this.
It's the political games. We've mastered the art of stopping any and all progress with politics. Politics are not here to help us. The politics of our system are here to grind everything to a halt. And so they have perfectly protected themselves from actually having to change and to address these environmental issues, because they throw it into the hands of the politicians in Washington, and they have a uncanny knack of making a spectacle of all of this such that we don't get anything done. We know the science, we know the research, we see the impact, but because of our politicians and the games that they play in the kabuki theater in Washington, D.C., we don't get anything done.
The other layer to this is oftentimes the construction of these pipelines violates treaty rights. We saw that with the NODAPL, the North Dakota Access Pipeline. We also have seen that with the Line 3. So on so many levels, the construction of these pipelines is not only dangerous for all humankind, it violates treaty rights. And yet and still these corporations, who in this case, Amplify Energy, was in violation of so many codes. They had 100 different violations in 11 years. 100 violations in 11 years. And so, I mean, this, to me, if you ask me, it's not borderline criminal. It is criminal.
Absolutely.
You're endangering people all across this country. You're violating treaty rights, and you have all of these violations, yet and still our government is complicit.
Yeah. Yeah. Because what happens when you have more money than anyone that is regulating you, when you have more influence, political power than anyone who's going to hold you accountable? Every now and then we get some kind of dog and pony show where they'll get a slap on the wrist, but it's never anything significant, never anything that makes them change their behavior pattern, because here we are yet again, and it's increasing. The speed with which all of these accidents are happening, it's increasing, and that's because they don't. The entire conversation about using oil at this point, when we are seriously getting to peak, I think is destructive. And they know what they're doing, but here we are yet again.
And I feel like when there is acts of violence or harm against the environment, it usually isn't seen as destructive or criminal as when there are acts of violence against a human being. But in essence, when you really talk to the water protectors, harming, destroying, polluting the water is violence against us because we need it to live.
That's right. That's right. And I thought you were going to say the way we treat violence against property, because if you think about it, the way the system erupts if a building burns suggests that they would be upset if the oceans are burning, but they're not. Amazon's burning. They don't care. Oceans are leaking full with oil. They don't care. So their emphasis is on what is selfishly theirs. It's not about the people. It's about how they can gain more, and the environment and humanity be damned.
And when you said Amazon, you meant the ocean, not the actual retailer.
The Amazon, not the store. But well, that's a whole different conversation. Now we have to distinguish between the nature, Amazon, and the anathema that is Jeff Bezos. But I digress.
And I think that there is something to be said about that accountability or lack thereof. How do we move to a place in our nation where accountability is a part of our culture? I think it's necessary for us to restore the morale of our country, because in so many ways, it's been diminished. Not only has there been a lack of accountability with these corporations, but there's also been a lack of accountability in our corrupt criminal justice system. We've covered extensively a lot of different, police killings, fatal encounters that especially Black people have had with police in this nation. But also even further, when you look at how many innocent people are in our jail systems. And so the thread of accountability, it surfaces through in so many different aspects of these conversations. I do want to turn now to accountability with, again, the Minneapolis Police Department, who was caught on body camera saying that they're hunting down protesters during the George Floyd uprising in 2020. And Jaleel Stallings was one of those protesters. He was shot by rubber bullets. He didn't see who shot him. And so he was under the impression that he was being shot by a random civilian, a random resident. And he ended up firing back. He was charged with about 8 different counts. And he had to go through an extensive legal battle. But eventually, based on the body camera footage of the incident, he was his charges were dropped. because if the police aren't identifying themselves and they're intentionally going after protesters, how are you supposed to know that these are actually police and not some random person attacking you?
Georgia, there's no way this, and it takes so much to get justice in this country. I mean, justice would have been this brother not having to go through this situation in the first place. Justice would have been these Minneapolis police officers not even being on the force with that type of thinking that they're going to hunt down protesters. And this is what happens when you have that kind of barbaric thinking in the ranks of people who are supposed to be here to protect and serve us. But here we are yet again. And if not for the technology that at sundry times does help. I'm grateful for the technology here, but so many cases, Georgia, that you've covered, we've seen that they just conveniently cut the technology off or refuse to release it. So this time it helped out.
And some people might be asking, well, what does this have to do with accountability? Yeah, he shouldn't have been charged in the first place. And yes, he was acquitted. So in this case, the system worked. But to your point, he shouldn't have had to gone through this in the first place. And what do we say for ourselves when there are actually officers on the Minneapolis police force right now who have more complaints filed against them than Chauvin did? Chauvin had nearly 20 complaints filed against him, and there was no intervention. There was no disciplinary action. He was not held accountable for the first time that someone said he used excessive force and actually survived. Had there been intervention, had there been accountability, George Floyd may still be here. Some of those buildings that people care more about might actually still be here. Yet and still, it didn't work for him. The lack of accountability, this culture that we have cultivated that has allowed people to move forward in doing the wrong thing without being disciplined, without there being any consequences for their action. And still to this day, people on the MPD don't have accountability.
That's right. And as you were speaking, I didn't know whether or not you were speaking about the Minneapolis Police Department or about the oil pipeline where there has been no accountability. And then what really threw me for a loop were all the complaints against these officers that have been logged, right? Just like all of the infractions that have been logged against those energy companies that still did what they wanted to do anyway. There is a level of impunity that goes around this country, and it particularly intersects with white men, but particularly those who are on the leading edge either of the police state or greed.
But if you have the smallest infraction, you will be held accountable at the highest standard simply because of the color of your skin.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
And so, we continue to remain at this space, I believe, in our country where we're still amidst a racial reckoning, where America really has to answer for the discrimination that is embedded in every industry and every facet of life, whether it's the criminal justice system, whether it's corporate America, white collar crimes. There is a double standard. There is this expectation that Black citizens be held to this high standard. Meanwhile, you have CEOs who can definitely afford to take a loss that are allowed to get away with murder.
Absolutely. And I'm actually now thinking about the smallest amount of accountability that we get. It is so far and few and in between. And they are able to get away with murder. But something that resonated with me with what you said, Georgia, profoundly was the amount of and the level of accountability that Black people particularly are exposed to in this country. Broken glass policing, simple things like playing in a park leading to summary execution by the police force. This is the reality of Black folks around the country. And yet we have another column of people in this country that are not only able to get away with murdering us, they're able to get away with devastating our economy, and they're able to get away with destroying our environment.
It's absolutely absurd. Ben, I know that you have also been tracking a story this morning as well.
Yeah, so we're keeping an eye on all of the action that is taking place. We talk a lot about the filibuster. We talk a lot about Joe Biden's agenda being held up, particularly by Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema. We have more footage this week from ACT TV, our partners over at ACT TV, where we encourage you to do more than watch. We want you to act. And these are clips from a protest. This first clip is of former NAACP President Ben Jealous outside of the White House, demanding accountability and demanding that we do something on behalf of voting rights. If we can't protect anything else in this country, Georgia, you would think it would be easy at this point to protect the rights of black people. Let's listen to this first clip.
Mr. President, tell your party in the Senate to fix the rules so we can get the voting rights bill through. There's nothing sacred about the filibuster. It is an accident in legislative history, most frequently used to insulate Jim Crow. We have created carve-outs to the filibuster to fix roads and bridges. Joe Biden can call on the Senate to create a carve-out to the filibuster or just get rid of it. This is the biggest attack on American democracy since the rise of Jim Crow. So often we activists, we get arrested in D.C. and, they put the cuffs on, they take the cuffs off, out and out. That's not what's going to happen today, most likely. We're being told this is a more serious infraction. We will be processed differently, and we will likely be there overnight. I know them as friends. I've known Kamala for a third of my life. I've known Joe almost as long. We are only risking arrest right now because we need our friend. A. Philip Randolph was told, some say by LBJ, some say by FDR, some say by both. I agree with everything you say, now go make me do it. And this is where we are right now. Saying to the President of the United States, saying to the Vice President of the United States, stand up, have courage, tell the Senate to remove the filibuster as an obstacle and secure our voting rights.
Now, Georgia, these protests are taking place all across the country. And again, that was Ben Jealous, former president of the NAACP, but also now with People for the American Way. That's the organization that organized that particular protest. And I want to play the second clip from Cliff Albright. He is also a friend of the show and co-founder of Black Voters Matter. And again, this footage was provided to us by our partners at ACT TV. Listen to the plea. Because we're not asking for reparations here, Georgia. We're not asking even for, while we are asking for justice reform, we're at the point where we can't even get our votes guaranteed. Listen to Cliff Albright as he explains it.
It's so important that we are here to send this message to the president, to the White House, to Congress, that we need them to finish the job. That we don't need any more excuses. We need them to finish the job. Now, the other day on Friday, y'all may have heard, President Biden took a trip down to the Capitol in order to push through this infrastructure bill and reconciliation, and that's important, right? We want infrastructure for our communities, right? Yeah. But we can't go forward on that at the risk of giving up on the infrastructure of our democracy. We can't have him out there talking about, he said it doesn't matter how long it takes, it doesn't matter if it takes 6 minutes or 6 days, right? Y'all heard him say that. But as long as you got voting rights on hold, then it does matter how long it takes for you to pass infrastructure. We can't be sitting around waiting for you to come to an agreement. Prioritize the infrastructure of our democracy, to prioritize, to move voting rights, to move the Freedom Vote Act up ahead on the calendar. We can't wait for infrastructure. We need voting rights now. You can't have it both ways. You can't on the one hand say that voting rights is sacred, but then in the next sentence out your mouth, you're worshiping at the altar of the filibuster. You can't have it both ways. You got to pick a side, President Biden. That's what we're demanding today. Pick a side. Finish the job. End the filibuster. Pass our voting rights. And we need you to do it right now. And I'm here to say that I and these other folks that are standing next to me, we've counted the cost. We've counted the cost on both sides, what the cost is of getting arrested, but also what is the cost if we don't take a stand? What is the cost in terms of not having voting rights and not being forward on the issue.
Now, one last detail, Georgia, is that normally these arrests are, in a way, symbolic. But this time it was different because of the proximity to the White House and the increased security, particularly because of January 6th. They were actually held overnight, and they were told that this is a little bit different than all the other times before because we're in a heightened state of security. And so we're going to stay in touch with Cliff Albright and everyone who was involved with that to make sure that they are okay as they continue to stand and speak truth to power.
You know, and when you think about accountability, who was held accountable in this situation, and for what? In this situation, you have individuals who are saying we deserve the right to vote. Our voting rights should be protected, standing on the shoulders of John Lewis. Yet and still, they're held accountable at what standard and at what cost? Right. And so for this, you know, to juxtapose this with the other two situations that we've discussed this morning, it's interesting because here, you know, what law was really violated? You know, do these people not have the protection under the First Amendment to protest? This looked like a peaceful protest to me. There was no property that was damaged. They weren't violent. They weren't even aggressive. They were expressing themselves. And so what violation did they have? Did they violate some code 100 times like the corporation did earlier? Yet and still they're held, and I'm going to do air quotes, accountable for their actions.
Right. And then also, and Dwayne, I don't know if you have any B-roll of January 6th, but let's be real now. How many actual arrests took place on January 6th versus what had to take place later, right? Look at how far those protesters were able to get with their outrage and with what they were fighting for. These folks are Cliff and the rest of the.
And I think we may have lost Ben's signal there, but. And maybe I think he's coming back in. But, you know, when you think about these individuals being arrested after protesting, demanding the rights for voting rights, something that feels like we have backslidden. We made so much progress, 30, 40, 50 years ago. And now it's being unraveled, similar even to women's rights. And to your point, Ben, of looking at what happened on January 6th, the only reason why we saw any accountability for January 6th is because the people held the federal government's feet to the fire and demanded that there be some arrests. But yeah, that should have happened on January 6th. The same way these people are out there the day of, and no one had to, put up pictures and do investigation to find out who's who and go back to their city and state and find them to press charges like they did on January 6th. They could have done the same thing on January 6th.
And the other thing, Georgia, before my signal cuts out again, I want people to know that there's actions taking place all around the country. There are protests that are happening right now. There's strikes. There are so many union strikes happening all around the country. So these are just few images of the resistance, of people who are fighting back. And the resistance did not die just because Donald Trump left. There are so many more things that we have to fight for right now today.
You know, when I was in Hawaii, there was protests. We were vacationing, and there was individuals there protesting the mask mandate. And a lot of them were saying that Biden's not their president, that they still believe that Trump is their president. None of those people were arrested. In fact, I've covered a lot of protests that were in favor of Trump, and I can't recall one time any of those individuals were arrested.
That's because the police normally, their position and their weapons, their gaze is towards us. Their backs will always turn to the white supremacists. So that lets you know whose side they're on, right? Any of these protests, we have footage of it. There's any case that you see where there's a line between white supremacy and protesters fighting against white supremacy. Always take a look at who the police are facing. They're always facing us and never the white supremacists.
So, Ben, the question I think so many of us are left with is how do we change our country? Because it is not equitable for people who look like you or I. And it's, we have so many examples that leave us with this conclusion. It's simply just not fair. What do we have to do as a country in order to see some of these changes come to fruition?
That's the $1 million question, right? And that's what Black people have been fighting for in particular. We are obviously in league and comrades with other marginalized communities, but Black folks, we've had to find ways of surviving this system, both the system of white supremacy and the system of greed in the form of capitalism. How do we win? That's the big question, because I think we have to understand those two devils are inextricably linked. We're not going to beat white supremacy unless we address the underlying greed that has people going out into the pandemic to make quarterly profit margins for billionaires to be able to go into space. The absurdity of it all, Georgia. So I don't quite know if I have an answer for it yet, but I do believe we have hundreds of years of theory and practice that tells us what the real diagnosis is.
And what is the alternative? Are we literally supposed to just sit here and twiddle our thumbs while our voting rights are being stripped away from us? There has been the legal diplomatic practice of drafting the bill, having it authored, introducing it, having it voted on. We've gone through all of the proper protocols, yet and still we have a system that is designed to uphold our oppression. And so we're left with no other choice but to stand in front of the White House and demand that something be done. But where is the intervention? Where is the intervention by the people who are supposed to represent us?
Georgia, I'm going to need you to always stay grounded and be the one who always walks me back from the brink, because you asked the really fundamental question, what is next? When we exhausted all of our other options, right? We voted. We went to the polls in a pandemic. We went back in January and sent you John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock from Georgia. We flipped Georgia blue. Come on, Black folks, we've done everything that this system has told us to do. We did everything that we were supposed to do in Tulsa. We did everything that we were supposed to do in Rosewood. We did everything we were supposed to in Camilla, Georgia. So, Sister Georgia, next question, please. Next question.
Well, what's coming up next?
What's coming up next? Awesome. Listen, we're going to be joined by Ahmed Baba. He's from Rant Media. We're going to be speaking with him during Like It or Not, particularly about the technology aspect of everything we're fighting against. We're not just fighting against white supremacy. We're fighting against the algorithm, particularly Facebook. There's some whistleblowers, some leaks coming from Facebook that shows you exactly who and what Mark Zuckerberg really is. So I'm looking forward to that interview coming up at 9:45.
Keep it here for that and more on The Benjamin Dixon Show.
could really use a change of scenery. Yeah, everybody smoking all the greenery. Yeah, close the match 'cause they were handed down to me. But I'm still fly, I know. I'm still fly, let's go. It could all be worse, I could be a hater like you. It could all be worse. Pills to make the man, but that poison's gonna kill you. From the inside out, so right now. Say it with your chest now, say it with your chest now. I'm young, I'm free, can't nobody take me here and now. It's my time to run it out. It's my time, it's my time, it's my time to ride it. I'm young, I'm free, can't nobody take me here and now. It's my time to run it.
Good morning, everybody. Y'all know who it is. Y'all know the voice. Y'all know the sound. It's your boy, James Bo Williams, DJ Exclusive, is in the building. Good morning, y'all. Y'all know I couldn't stay away too long. Y'all better be glad I'm here because only one person sent me something to bring my butt in. But that's okay. I said I digress. I'll still come. Okay? So I'm here on my day off again. So I know that, right? Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned. Keep it locked in. Y'all got more coming up on the Benjamin Dixon Show. Y'all stay tuned, all right? Good morning, everybody. And then, God damn it. See, everybody know what's Check your messages, man. Wednesday just won't let me be great at all. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Y'all feel so inclined to y'all tip y'all DJ so he can get some coffee or something. DJ X3C on Cash App and Venmo. I'm still trying to wake up. I ain't had no coffee, ain't had no tea, ain't had no Black and Mild. My God, today I'm just all over the place. Good morning, everybody.
Sometimes money mean
Sonny, right? Double pay. That's that Soulja Boy meme. Double pay.
Come a little closer. Get some disclosure. Do you mind to quit your pretending? Truth or false, the shit never ending. Hear me now and stop condescending. You see, I'm begging you.
Ooh, the church lady, I'm glad that you got it, but
find it deep inside and try
not here.
There's a way I want to know. Try to quit your games and now that you're denying it.
Okay, cool.
And I know you're the safest bet. The rules in my mind can't fight the
that really?
No, I can't seem to find. But I'm really trying to
Bruh. Hey, Dwayne, look like we're going to be running it by the time Like It or Not start. Dwayne, this is going to be me, you, and David. God dang, bruh. Okay, cool. All right, y'all. Y'all welcome back to the screen. Y'all know I give him a hard-ass time, but I still love him, man. That's my brother from another mother. Yeah, y'all welcome to the screen. Benjamin P. Dixon. I wouldn't go say his middle name.
The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Today is Wednesday, October 6, 2021. James, you know, you are simultaneously indispensable, irreplaceable, but I can't stand you, man. What's going on, bro?
That's right. Beyonce made that song for me, Irreplaceable. That's why I sung it in the karaoke contest and I won singing it. So, you know, it's just for me. Please stop.
To the left, to the left.
How you doing this morning, brother? You okay?
Everything that goes in the Cash App to the left.
You did that. Good job, man. Good job.
Hey, man, listen, in my off time, I'm quite the lyricist, but that's a whole different conversation. Listen, man, thank you for jumping in and coming in on your day off because, man, my guy today, Sister Georgia Ford, asked me a question at the end of the last segment that almost sent me to the stratosphere of the revolution, man, because my goodness, the stuff that's going on around us and the absurdity of it all is enough for us to really ask the question that she asked, which was, what y'all expect us to do next? James, what do these folks expect us to do next when we did everything y'all told us we're supposed to do? And then they changed rules. And then everything that we're doing is being held up by the self-actualization. You're a fan of movies. You like romantic comedies, James?
Yeah, you put my tea out there, man. Damn. Yeah, I do like rom-coms.
I love romantic comedies. It's like the coming of age. All of a sudden, like everything falls together. This is your moment. And I actually had a romantic comedy moment myself, riding around downtown Akron, Ohio on one of those gentrifier scooters. You know what I mean? I was riding through like, man, I'm like, here I am. This is my moment. I'm young. I'm free. And bro, why do I feel like we are all just, you know, side actors in the romantic comedy that Kirsten Sinema believes that she's living in? I almost said Republican, but that's what she is amounting to be, right?
Wow.
This Democratic senator from the state of Arizona is living her best life, dressing her, you know, eclectic way and having her curtsy moment and you know, she's in a triathlon and they're writing articles about her. So this is her time to shine at the expense of all of us who've been fighting for stuff. And it's not just her, right? There's Joe Manchin. There's a whole list of other Democratic senators, but those two in particular, I want to take a look at their reaction because I'm sorry, Senator Sinema, what did you expect the people to do, to just stand by and let you live your best life while you're standing in the way of ours? Here's a clip from a DACA recipient named Karina, who directly tried to ask Kirsten Sinema if she would support a pathway to citizenship in the reconciliation bill. Now, this is a citizen, or this is one of her constituents, who is asking her a question, and I want you to watch how Kirsten Sinema reacted.
Senator, hello, how are you? Good? Sorry, I'm Karina. I don't know if you remember me. I just want to know if you can commit, as my senator, if you can commit to passing a reconciliation that could provide a pathway to citizenship for immigrants. We have been waiting for this for too long. I just need to know if you can commit for people to be protected, like me and many others. Can you commit to that, Senator? I'm just asking you a simple question. I'm being vulnerable right now to you. My dad passed away last year, and we didn't get to reunite with my family. I don't want to disturb you, but at the same time, I just want to see if I can get a commitment from you, Senator. This is my life and the life of millions in the line. All right, Senator. I see that you don't want to respond to me. Thanks for your time.
Now, James, this took place on a plane. Earlier this week, Kirsten Sinema was asked questions by people who were leaving her classroom. They followed her, they asked her questions, and they went into the restroom with her to ask her more questions. And all of a sudden, the people who are coming to her defense are Republicans, are white supremacists, quite frankly. Like the Charlie Kirks, little Charlie Kirk is coming to the defense of Kirsten Sinema. Ben Shapiro, Tucker Carlson is coming to the defense of Kirsten Sinema. So that makes me ask the question, whose side is she really on if the Republicans are now coming all out in order to defend her from protesters who want to ask her questions and hold her accountable. So, I mean, there's a whole lot more, man, but you've been following this along with us. And I think she thought that this was that this movie was going to end with a happy ending, but she didn't realize, man, those cameras turn into paparazzi really quickly.
Oh, she knows. They definitely know. They just don't care. That's evident by the way she just sat there and didn't say anything. And then, of course, with the other Republicans, GOP, all the rest of those turds, when they come up to it, that's how they do. They did the same thing with Nikki. When Nikki said what she said about Testicle Gate, they jumped on her side to try to defend her real quick. So the same thing is going to happen with Cinema is they gonna try to defend her real quick, try to make them switch sides or say, hey, look at this, I got your person over here, you need to come on over here too and get on the right side of history. No, I'm good, love, enjoy.
Exactly. No, and you're exactly right. That's exactly what they did with Nicki Minaj, right? With the entire, what was it? You said Testicle Gate, the Trinidadian Testicle Gate. The same people. Charlie Kirk, Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, man, like you have to understand whose side you on based on who comes to your defense. And now here's the next clip. This is from Joe Biden, President Biden, and he was asked specifically about the techniques of these protesters, confronting these senators wherever they are. I loved his response. This is not just as it pertains to Kyrsten Sinema. We played last week the protesters who were on the kayaks. Bro, they were on kayaks and they pulled up on Joe Manchin's yacht and they forced them to come out and speak to them. And all of a sudden, you have Republicans who are like, oh, this is a bridge too far. Don't go after them on their yachts. Don't go after them on the planes. Here's Joe Biden's reaction to that.
And just one, Mr. President, you're talking about how you have 48 Democratic votes right now. The other two have been pressured over the weekend by activists. Joe Manchin had people on kayaks show up to his boat to yell at him. Senator Sinema last night was chased into a restroom. Do you think that those tactics are crossing a line?
I don't think they're appropriate tactics, but it happens to everybody. From the only people it doesn't happen to are people who have Secret Service standing around them. So it's part of the process.
Good answer, Sleepy Joe.
You did it, Joe.
He laughed. Hey,
Joe.
Shut up, man.
You did it there, bro.
Joe. You did it, Joe.
That was a good answer, Joe.
I bet you don't happen to Kamala either.
It better not. I mean, I'm just saying, but she got Secret Service, right? And
right,
that's the point.
Exactly.
If you don't have the luxury of Secret Service, then listen, dude. Not to make this about me, but when I did the story of Michael Bloomberg, man, I had people come after me. I had no kind of protection. Now, listen, at the time, I was nothing more than a podcaster, which is a distinguished profession. But if podcasters can be held accountable to the people in whatever form or fashion, why do these politicians think that they are above reproach? Like, we cannot pull up and say, hey, you are taking our taxpayer dollars. You are held accountable to us, Joe Manchin, Kyrsten Sinema. And if you thought this song was about you, wait till you get to the bridge, because the people got something to say. Man, I'm in my bag today.
I see, but you're right though, and it's one of those things. It's just like, okay, it does need to happen, and yes, the approach may be like off kilter a little bit, but I think the girl on the plane did actually very well. But as us being your constituents and we're paying your bills and everything, and you're supposed to be working for us, if I see you out on the street or on the plane, in the bathroom, wherever the hell you are, I'm going to come ask questions about why aren't you feeding me what I need to be fed? Why aren't you giving me the insurance that I need? Why aren't you doing these things for me? These questions need to be answered, and since you won't get on TV and do everything else and answer all these questions, then damn it, we're going to get the answer in the street, man. We're going to get it the street way.
We're going to pull up. My God,
and I don't want to get it twisted, TV. The street way might not be the street way that I'm referring to. The street way is I'm going to approach you in public and talk to you, okay? And I only try to get it twisted. And it makes sure
we gotta translate just in case they make a soundbite of this. Because conservatives watch. I got a couple of conservatives who watch, try to get some sound bites of that. I understand, James. You got to put context. I want to shift gears to. I want to skip over D1. We'll come back to D. Let's go to E. Mark Zuckerberg. Because James, like, you're all in the algorithm. You know this space really, really well. And the whistleblower has Frances Hagen. Or Hagen. I can't pronounce last names. She has been testifying and laying down some damning information about the reality of the ideology of Facebook because of the power of Mark Zuckerberg, who still holds 55% of the company. There's no one to hold Mark Zuckerberg accountable except Mark Zuckerberg's ego. And he is the Führer over a nation with almost 2.5 billion people in it. They've even talked about giving Bloomberg, hello, Michael, there was an article discussing giving Facebook a seat at the United Nations, my man. Now, what? Let's listen to at the United Nations. That's power. And it's all in the hands of little Mark Zuckerberg. Listen to the whistleblower as she describes. I want to go with E1. Let's listen to this whistleblower.
Mark holds a very unique role in the tech industry in that he holds over 55% of all the voting shares for Facebook. There are no similarly powerful companies that are as unilaterally controlled. And in the end, the buck stops with Mark. There's no one currently holding Mark accountable but himself.
There's no one holding Mark accountable but himself. James, considering the fact that Mark Zuckerberg has every data point on every single one of us, not just what we did on his site, but what he recorded with our audio, how does that make you feel?
Zucky Zuck having a seat at the table? I'm not here for it, dude. I mean, it's certain lanes for certain people, and that's just not one of those lanes. That's just like, prime example, Trump getting his tail in the White House.
That's right.
It's the same thing. Right. What kind of relations or what are you going to bring to the table that's going to... Oh, I got it. Money. That's what it is. Money. He lost $6 billion in one day and he's okay. I'm sorry. $7 billion in one day and he's cool. Cool. Got it.
James, now here's the funny thing about it. I didn't even realize this until you started talking. The same folks, you pointed this out with Nicki Minaj, and we were just talking about Kyrsten Sinema and how Tucker Carlson and Ben Shapiro and little Charlie Kirk all came to their rescue. Guess who has been coming to the rescue of Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook in light of this whistleblower? The same folks. Tucker Carlson, Ben Shapiro. All of a sudden, they're like, oh, Mark Zuckerberg, he's an okay guy. Folks, come on, man. Can we not see what's going on? Mark Zuckerberg is a right-wing incel who just happened to be a billionaire and could probably catch a couple of ladies at that point, but I digress. And now we've entrusted him with the destiny of the data of 2.5 billion people, and you want to give him a seat at the United Nations? The hell is wrong with y'all people?
And somebody said it best, like, what is it? He's a country now? Facebook country? Zuck country? No, hell no. I'm not here for that.
Nah, no, not at all. There's another clip. We're going to pick up this story at 9:45. Ahmed Baba is coming from Rant Media. He's going to join us, and we're going to play more from the whistleblower and get more analysis on that topic because, man, I'm telling you, we're not just fighting against white supremacy. We're fighting against an algorithm that has been optimized for white supremacy. You know what I mean? It's a lie. And it extends over into our fight against COVID-19. The same people who are supporting Mark Zuckerberg, the same people who are supporting Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, the same people who supported Nicki Minaj and the Trinidadian testicular gate. My God, they are now out here making sure that you are willing to run into the storm unprotected, the storm of COVID-19. They literally want you to take your chances with natural immunity versus the vaccine. Now, all the people that I listed at this point were nothing more than like internet celebrities and commentators, right? Or Tucker Carlson from Fox News. This is Senator Ron Johnson from Wisconsin, a sitting senator who is encouraging people indirectly to take on COVID-19 and get some natural immunity. Because guess what? It's your right. It's your right. It's your body. It's your choice. Not women, but you who want to die of COVID-19. Let's take a listen to this clip.
Why am I giving you this information? Well, first of all, on the social media, this is suppressed. This is being censored. People like me that would even broach the subject of VAERS have been attacked. But the main point I'm trying to make is those individuals who believe in their own health autonomy, believe in their own personal freedom, many of who have already been infected with COVID, are reading the science, believe on base of what they're reading that their natural immunity is probably as, if not more effective than the vaccinated immunity, have chosen not to get the vaccine. That's their right. You may not agree with that, but it's not your body. It's not your right to impose on someone else a mandate to take the vaccine or take away their job, take away their livelihood, take away their health care. These mandates are unconstitutional, but they are going to be incredibly harmful for military readiness and for our health care system. They're also going to be incredibly corrosive to our society. I've been inundated, even well before President Biden announced his ill-advised and unconstitutional mandates. I've been inundated with emails and letters and phone calls from people who are so concerned about being coerced, being forced to take a vaccine under duress.
Let me say this real quick.
Yeah, man.
So y'all can mandate a woman's body where she can't do what she want to do with it, but then you come back and fight about mandating a vaccine. Let's make it make sense, people, because this stuff's stupid, bro. It's stupid.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. That's it right there, right? That's the hypocrisy. That's the hypocrisy that's baked into their calculus. We can tell them, like, we'll pull them to the side and say, hey guys, did you understand that you're being hypocritical here? And we try to explain it to them. We have a logical debate with them. And all the while, they're sitting back laughing like, you moron. Of course I'm a hypocrite. Of course I'm going to use VAERS, the Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System, and put it up there to make everyone feel that because this is being said from the halls of our Senate by a sitting U.S. senator, he is making the assertion that it is dangerous. That red line is to scare you and say that it is so dangerous to take the vaccine. But he's using that, but he's also not telling you the fine print that all of the reports that are in the VAERS, the Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System, that he's using on that graph, James, they're not researched, they're not investigated, they are self-reported. Anybody can get online and type in anything and say, I had a bad reaction, and that is amassed into the data that this man is using in his propaganda. So he knows he's being a hypocrite. He's doing this on purpose. And the only conclusion I can come to, well, actually, I'm gonna slow down on my conclusion because it's gonna take a minute to unpack it. I might have to save that for like the after party because, I mean, 1 + 1 = 2, man. Like, they're trying to maximize the number of people who are getting killed.
Yeah, it makes no sense, and I'm still just the whole point of this that you build up natural immunity. No, I mean it may be possible, but I know my mom and my sister. They wouldn't want to get this crap again. I know they wouldn't. So building up natural immunity and just knowing everything that mom went through when she had COVID. No. And it's still not, it's not any better. I know mom has those long-term, the long-term COVID effects. She's still, she's still feeling some of that. So I don't understand why anybody would want to go through that. You're going to take a risk of being on a ventilator, being put on a ventilator, and not waking the hell up. I want people to understand that and realize that about this thing. This thing is nothing to play with.
Nothing, man. Listen, I'm working out something with my brother-in-law. He is he's a minister and he is a chaplain in residence, and he has been telling me stories of all the people he has had to help grieve. You know, it's nonstop. It's all day, every day. I'm also going to bring on some funeral home directors, right? Because I need people to understand that business is good right now. I'm also going to bring on some pastors who can tell you that the way that their congregations have been staying afloat over the last 2 years, they're not having Sunday morning service. They're having all day long Saturday funeral services. They're staying afloat because people are booking the buildings for funerals. And they want you, listen to this next clip. This next clip involves our favorite, Alex Jones. But I just want you to listen, and I know we're running over time, but I want to take my time with this, man. Listen to the absurdity of where they want us to think, where they want our thinking to go, and the mindset that is necessary to be willing to embrace possibly dying because you don't want to take the vaccine. Listen to Alex Jones in this clip.
You know, this governor that said yesterday, God doesn't love you if you don't take the vaccine. And then she had the audacity. She actually had the testicular fortitude. She may be a man who says all of the major religious leaders have said there are no religious exemptions. Well, excuse me, but your major religious leaders are on the tape. They are going to be controlled by the Antichrist.
Why does Satan want depopulation?
He wants depopulation because he wants revenge against the human race because we took his place. God made man in his image and after his likeness. The shot actually affects your DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid. It actually changes the molecular structure of humans who are created in God's image and after his likeness. That's why the government is wanting to push this vaccine so heavily and say, if you don't take it, we're going to.
It literally marks your DNA.
Okay, wait a minute. Hold on.
Did you hear that too?
When I saw the notes, it said Alex Jones. I thought Alex Jones was going to be the wild one in this clip. My God, today, that was right-wing pastor Tony Spell talking with Alex Jones about New York Governor Kathy Hochul. James, my goodness, I wasn't ready for that.
He say it changes the coding and all this other stuff. I was trying to make sure I got all my fingers and toes. I ain't got no extra growth nowhere. So I mean, that gets everything is okay. What? And then he spelled out or he spoke out the full DNA, right? It was like, oh, I can say the full word DNA, and that's going to be so impressive. And I'm sure somebody was impressed by that. And I'm sure there's a lot of people, because Alex Jones transmits to millions of people every single day, and they're all back there like, yes, praise the Lord. Give me COVID-19. Praise the Lord and pass the COVID. Ben, I praise the Lord and pass the COVID. That's terrible, bro.
I told you I'm in my bag today.
I see, but he looks like a crooked politician. He looks like Eric Trump almost, and he looks annoying as crap. Like, what is this stuff you're talking about? It makes no sense. You're using big words.
He's right. He thinks he's using big words.
He thinks he's using big words.
I Googled DNA. Hang on, let's Google DNA. Because I don't know what it is. Okay, deoxyribonucleic acid. Ooh, you're so smart, man. This is what we're dealing with. We're actually dealing with people this guy's like this is like a movie. No, for real. Like, you put this guy on a television set and you would think it was over the top. You would look at this and say, there's no way people will fool for this, right? You look at this and say there's absolutely, but there are millions of people every single day who are falling for the conspiracy theories of the likes of Alex Jones and all of these right-wing pastors. And I actually got one more clip before we go to break, James. It doesn't stop. These are anti-vax protesters, and they pause for comments on the Brooklyn Bridge. I want you to listen to the thinking and the rationale or the irrationality. Let's take a listen in.
If I don't have the right to my body, then I am a slave. People will die so that I can walk free on the streets, and I'm not going to back to being a slave. I would not go back. I would not go back. Someone ever said, hey, medical apartheid. Hey, medical apartheid. Hey, medical apartheid. Hey, medical apartheid.
Did they flip this people's stuff over?
Now, apologies to the listening audience. You did not get the full impact of it, but all the noise that you heard corresponded with, yes, James, that man just went over there and flipped over. Was that a testing site? And
a free COVID testing site.
Yeah. Yeah.
What being now, because I can barely hear the audio of what she said. Mm-hmm. I'm so confused. It's a lot of things going on here in this clip. It's a lot of things going on in this clip. Because first of all, didn't she have isn't that a Great Britain flag? Am I tripping?
Yes.
Okay, yes. That's one thing. Okay, it's a lot of things going on in this clip that I just need.
We got time, dissect, because Rebecca's internet did what mine was doing a few minutes ago, so we got time. Dissect it, doctor.
Hold on,
right?
Bubba, dissect it in a second. But look at my man right here next to the van. He gonna punch the van. Then he thought about it. He was like, that was probably the wrong thing to do.
He said, I can't knock over the van, so let me knock over the free COVID testing site. That's the enemy. The people who are out there sacrificing their time and their energy. But go ahead, James.
No, I'm just like, okay, you got her with the Great Britain flag, no health mandates, health freedom. Now, health freedom, this is a lot. Now, they are protesting vaccine mandates. Mm-hmm. Is that what this is?
They're protesting vaccine mandates and mask mandates, mind you. It's not just the vaccine mandates. Oh,
Thank
okay,
you.
yes. So,
Australia flag.
Yeah, the first.
Thank you. I'm about to say, I know Shoot the Dragon probably cussing me out in the chat room right now.
Yes, I know everybody's cussing us out because I said it was a Great Britain flag. But that just speaks to the fact of imperialism. The sun never set on the British Empire. Come on.
Right.
All right, let's keep going. I missed it. Okay. Flag on the play. Go ahead, James.
Yeah, literally flag on the play.
I agree with your ass, too.
Wait, so okay, I need some because now there's another sign in the back that says what is happening in Melbourne. I'm so confused by this clip.
Let's see, because you know what? Here's the thing, and actually now I do know what it's tied to, and so they're showing some international solidarity, and they want us to Google. So what is happening in Melbourne? Because these are the same type of protests that we're seeing.
I'll speak up a bit, Ben.
Go for it.
So there was another clip in the protest, good morning, everyone, that showed them the protest stop, I believe, by the Australian consulate or embassy. And they started chanting, in support of Australia. I wish we had our member Mark from Aus with us, but I'm sure he's in the comments yelling about it. I think it's tied to a lot of the mandates and the shutdowns in Australia because of the control that a portion of the country has with regard to restrictions when things happen.
Yeah, I got it. I found it, David.
Yeah, I see. Uneasy said they weren't allowed because Uneasy is in Melbourne as well too. She said they weren't allowed outside after 9 p.m.
And this is from NPR. Anti-vaccine protesters clashed with police in Melbourne, Australia for the second day. It's been a violent few days in Melbourne, Australia, where construction workers and other demonstrators are clashing with the police as they protest the government's COVID-19 vaccine requirements. Check it out, though. Think about the nations that have been handling this the best. I think about New Zealand. Like, if there's anywhere that you want to be during this pandemic, it's like New Zealand. Last I checked, they had this thing completely under control unless something has changed. These folks they want to seem as though they have this international solidarity with anti-vaxxers all around the globe. And they do, right? They do have, but they want to make it seem like they are on the right side, that they are the right people to be in the streets protesting. They are the right, because the worst thing in the world, James, is that they get a vaccine mandate or if they get a mask mandate. I want to be sure they include a mask mandate in these protests. These folks want us to get COVID-19. And I've never seen people so excited or so committed and so dedicated to their own destruction.
Yeah, that's real, Ben. But I'm going to juxtapose and ask another question.
Help me out.
And I appreciate the solidarity, and I y'all solidarity, yeah, standing up or whatever. But y'all doing all of this here in America, and we barely can keep our SHIT under control. What do these protesters think? Destroying property, because basically now that's what you're doing. What is this going to do? Don't y'all come at me saying about we did that during Black Lives Matter. That's totally different, bro.
Yeah. Listen,
but I'm just like,
the COVID-19 testing site does some good, right? The COVID-19 test, like, this is a testing site that he's destroying. So we're not even talking about a vaccine. We're not even talking about masks. We're talking about testing. That's the enemy now. And I want to ask these people, how many of them actually have health care? Well, they're talking about health freedom now. They have literally aligned themselves with the very people who want to ensure that not now one of them on that bridge could ever go to see a doctor after the police come in and bust their heads open.
Yeah. Bro, America is just doomed.
America's ghetto.
America is doomed. There's so much separation in this country. It's ridiculous. And I wish I could say what I wanted to say, but man, it's like, I'm gonna keep it clean.
James, if nothing else, there will be dancing. There will be music. What's a revolution if there isn't any dancing? Take us to a break. When we come back, we're going to Like It or Not. We're going to be joined at 9:45 by Ahmed Baba of Red Media as we discuss more about Facebook and all of the whistleblower implications. DJ exclusive. It's in your hands.
If the button to press. All right, y'all make sure y'all stay tuned. Like It or Not is starting up next. It's playing that gives me a chance to step away and get some coffee. But I've been into you yesterday and you never saw. We'll be right back. Enjoy the video.
Did you leave or not? You said that you meant to, but you forgot, and I never saw it coming. Should have been so easy, but I feel incomplete thinking about you. And I would just let you be, but I consistently think about you. Think about you. I know you're keeping secrets, hoping that I won't see this, but for whatever reason, I think I like it. Feels like there's something missing, at least it's something different, and I can't help this feeling. I think I like it. I think I like it. I think I like it. You're a mystery, history. You a girl is new to me. I wish that I could see it happen naturally, but I never saw it coming, baby. I never thought that we could get this far. Well, honestly, I really don't know where we are, and would it be less fun if it was less bizarre? Cause we never saw it coming. Should have been so easy, but I feel incomplete thinking about you. Yeah. And I would just let you be, but I consistently think about you. Oh, baby, do you think about it too? I know you're keeping secrets, hoping that I won't see this, but for whatever reason, I think I like it. Feels like there's something missing, at ride or die. I keep boys by my side. Know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side.
Day we hustle, but the night we
know that they ride or die. Know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side. Know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side.
Coffee is in the building. Coffee is in the building. Welcome back, y'all. We are. Y'all stay tuned. I said welcome back like y'all was somewhere.
More when I was not around.
Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned. Like in the night is starting up next.
They ain't no longer about. My name
guess I have to play something for y'all today, huh?
More when I was not around. Certain people that I know, they ain't no longer about. My name came up a lot of sounds. More when I was
Lily, good morning.
Certain people that I know, they ain't no longer about. My name came up a lot of sounds. More when I was
good morning, everyone. Grab your tea, your coffee, whatever it is you need. Get your morning started, y'all. Like it's coming on next.
Know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side. Know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side.
Day we hustle, but the night we
know that they ride or die. Know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side. Know that they ride or die.
I can imagine what y'all are hearing right now. In your car and everything, if you're listening in your car, you got all this bass. I know I'm hearing in the headphones, it's like minimal. But man, I know y'all getting blown away by all this bass.
Know that they fly, know that they ride or die. Cold, these brothers my guys. Know that they fly. Know that they fly. Know that they ride.
check your internet, Ben. I mean your text messages.
They ain't no longer about. No longer bar. CJ, they ain't no longer bar.
Okay, before we bring Ben in, I told them that I was going to play something today. I said we'll hold off till Wednesday, so I will give y'all now an exclusive listen to this dang on remix of this song. Now, you will hear it in the after party at patreon.com/psyching-or-not, patreon.com/psyching-or-not, or patreon.com/the BPD show. You'll hear it as much as you want to, but for y'all today, this is going to be the only time the public will hear it for the week. So, I'm going to shut the hell up, and I'm just going to let it do what it do. Yeah. Y'all know what time it is. Good morning, y'all. Get your coffee, your tea, your drink, whatever it is you need. It's time for Like It or Not, y'all. 9 a.m. to 10:30, yeah. Like It or Not is on your channel, yeah. Politics and culture, it's we change skin like we're supposed to, yeah. Interviews and all the news, we get to choose what gets the views. Like It or Not with Queen Azor, get started now, so stick around. Like it or not, it's going down. Like it or not, y'all stick around. Oh, Rebecca Azor is coming through. You know she got a good story for you. Oh, Benjamin, that's my dog. This is his show. He's a politics pro. I am your DJ. DJ exclusive. Y'all know who I am. I stay dropping them jams. Like it or not, it's going down. Like it or not, y'all stick around. Oh, like it or not, it's starting now. Like it or not, it's about to go down.
Like It
or Not with Benjamin Dixon starts now.
Good morning, good morning, everybody. What you have just heard was the smooth, sultry sounds of James Bubba Williams, DJ exclusive, and the Like It or Not remix. Like it or not. God dang it.
I'm trying to do something professional here, man. I'm trying to run a serious operation here, Jay.
And then David is like talking about Rebecca Azor. David. And then KFZ in the chat talking about Benjamin.
That was actually Matt Claremont on YouTube, but he took my thoughts on it.
You know, my apologies to all the professionals in the audience who are like, what are these people doing on my television screen acting this way? I don't know. You might want to talk to Act TV about that one. Welcome to Like It or Not, where we're free to tell the truth.
And not care who doesn't like it and sing what we want to sing to.
Now, if you're just tuning in, I know you're like, what in the entire world is going on my television set? But if you've been tuned in since this morning, special thank you to Georgia Ford on the clock, as always, doing phenomenal work. And I didn't even get a chance, James, to talk to her about what she did downtown Minneapolis yesterday, covering that the homeless encampment. But it was dope to see her out there in her element, like in the field and in the streets with her camera. And so shout out to her. And then obviously last segment we talked about Kirsten Sinema and Joe Manchin. By the time we get to Like It or Not, man,
it's time to let the hair down. I mean, granted, Rebecca's the only one that has hair out of all of us, but you know, Rebecca gets to let her hair down.
But does she?
Does she though? Does she?
She really have hair.
What you say, Ben? Wait a damn minute. You ain't getting it. Hey, no. You ain't about to get me cussed out.
Hey, listen, let me tell you. Listen, I bet you her internet start working now.
I bet she's gonna pop in, Dwayne. She there, ain't she? Let me stop.
She outside the door. Good morning to Rebecca Azor, who, like myself, is experiencing internet trouble here in the city of Atlanta, which is an infrastructure issue. It is most certainly an infrastructure issue in St. James. We've been covering that fight on the national stage. See, I could take anything silly and make it serious. I could take anything serious and make it silly. I don't even want to talk about the infrastructure bill right now. I just wanted to show y'all how I could flex. But let's do this next clip from Right Wing Watch. Shout out to them over there, man. They are relentless. They keep an eye on evangelicals every single day because the internet ministry of evangelicals is really what's helping all of this derangement around the vaccine, all this fear of critical race theory, and all of this big lie from January 6th. It's being taught and preached to the masses every single day on these evangelical streams. So Right Wing Watch is a phenomenal organization, and they have been keeping track of it, and we've been able to use their clips because they've done the diligence. And here's the clip from them. And this clip is of North Carolina Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson, again, our friend. You'll recognize him when you see him.
Oh, God.
Declaring that a television set is a one-eyed devil sitting right in your living room for the purpose of destroying your mind, and saying that the word media stands for most evil demon in America. Oh, man, do we not love our acronyms as preachers? Run the clip.
See, we are forgetting all these common sense things. Right. Common sense and wisdom that comes directly from the wisdom of our Bible. You see, 100 years ago, 150 years ago, when people wanted truth, they went to the Bible. They went to the church. They went to the pastor. Now when people want truth, they turn on the television set. Now I'm going to go ahead and tell you like this. That television set is a one-eyed devil sitting right in your living room for the purpose of destroying your mind. You know, I heard the media described like this one time, and I'm inclined to believe it. The media, M-E-D
I just had a swat. Hey, bro, I just had a swat away a fly, because I live in Georgia. But I wanted to say that so that they can clip it and say that I'm a demon because I'm dressed in all black like the Omen. You know what I mean? So most evil demon in America, and this is he's not there in the capacity of a preacher. He's there in his capacity as the lieutenant governor of North Carolina. Looking like
that's what I was about to say. Like this man again, pastoring these people, ain't got nobody's theological, whatever it's called, degree, ain't got nobody church experience. You just out here preaching this fake word. You look like you got a Bible on the podium right now. It ain't even no Bible. That's the Constitution. You just folded it up multiple times and put it on the dang on podium. The one-eyed devil in the living room. Really?
Now, listen,
my
James.
Question.
Go ahead, David.
My question.
Only white man on America who can interrupt me like that. Go ahead, David.
my question is, in local politics, people don't really, go to the events that often. They're not, they're not highly attended. So when they voted for him, did they know they were voting for him? Did they know they were voting for a pastor? Did they know they were voting for this?
I'm sure they did, because that plays well. You got to understand, man, the most effective form of communication in this country is religiosity. I could give you a demonstration. James, a charge to keep I have. Let me see how deep you go in the roots. I got to do an easy one. Let me see. Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound. Oh, James, I know you went to Sunday school, bro. Forget about it. The point is this.
What Dr. Matt said, Sunday school dropout, bro.
James. Now, Mama Gwen, listen. You ain't gonna flex on me that hard. Mama Gwen.
She'll tell you.
857.
We went to church with Mama like up to about 12, 13. And then that was it. And that was in Alabama in the country. We really ain't had Sunday school. We didn't get up that early.
So forget the heathen on the screen. Forget the heathen.
Oh, who you? Look at you. Look at you.
No, James. Don't do me that. Don't do me like that. Let's have a cessation of hostilities. I'm gonna step back and I'm gonna digress. Will you allow me to digress?
You can digress. You got to take a drink, but digress.
The last thing that you want to do is ever flex on your friend and go all the way back to college with you. So, I'm gonna shut up here. So don't take these two heathens on the screen word for it.
Okay.
Just listen to it. Matter of fact, the funny thing about this clip, James, is that he's not completely wrong. The first part of this clip was kind of, it's just enough truth for us to be like, okay, you got my attention. Dwayne, do me a favor and play the first part of that clip again so we can show you the little modicum of truth that's in it.
See, we are forgetting all these common sense things. Common sense and wisdom that comes directly from the wisdom of our Bible. You see, 100 years ago, 150 years ago, when people wanted truth, they went to the Bible. They went to the church. They went to the pastor. Now when people want truth, they turn on the television set.
Right here.
Now I'm going to go ahead and tell you like this.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. That's the part. That's the... No.
Room for the purpose of destroy.
The next part is what he's getting ready to say.
That television set is a one-eyed devil sitting right in your living room for the purpose of destroying your mind.
Pause. Right there. The television set. Now listen, if this brother don't say nothing else true, besides the fact that he and I both like chicken wings, probably to the same extent, greater or lesser extent, that man spoke the truth right there, right? The media, I don't believe that they are the most evil demon in America. I believe people who understand the truth and manipulate it to gaslight us to get their own political power, like this brother right here, I think he doesn't realize that he represents the greatest evil in this country. People who know the truth and turn it around for the bidding of political power. At the expense, James, of all the people who catching COVID-19 in that auditorium right there. All the people who gonna catch COVID-19 when they leave that auditorium and take it home to somebody who didn't even go to that event. because this is the context of everything that they're talking about. They're not talking about the restoration of voting rights. He's not talking about qualified immunity. He's not talking about the infrastructure. He's up here preaching about protecting everyone from having to take the vaccine and having to social distance and wear a mask. The absurdity of it all, man.
Yeah, but I'm going to have to disagree with you, Ben. It ain't the TV. It ain't the TV at all. It's phones, internet, Facebook, social media.
Man, I
you
sound
have
like a
all these
boomer.
devices that you are walking around with daily to the point you can even watch TV on the dang on thing now. So
man,
it ain't the one-eyed devil that's here in my living room. That's only good for playing PlayStation. It's these dang on phones, these 2 laptops that I got, the 5,000 iPads that are around the house.
Oh,
it's all
yes.
Take it with you.
The revolution. I want to say the revolution won't be televised. It will be streamed. But
it will be
what they're
streamed.
doing is not what they're doing is not the revolution. What they're doing is gaslighting. The gaslighting won't be televised. The gaslighting will be streamed. And you're right, James. It's coming now. It's coming to us at every single turn. Matter of fact,
yes,
it is so intelligent. We're going to be joined by Ahmed Baba. I done said that brother's name 3 different ways, 3 different times.
You did.
I don't know what it is about names. I just can't. I mean, unless it's some kind of colonized, Anglican, Johnson. I just, man.
Oh, you so black.
I gotta, man, no, really. Somebody gotta decolonize my language, man. My dialect gotta be decolonized. Because I just know, seriously, like my mouth cannot form certain phrases, and it's kind of embarrassing at this point. But good morning, America. Anyway, let's get ready to take a break, James. We have a lot of clips, and I know we just came back, but I want us to take a break and get ready for the full conversation on Facebook, because this is the thing, and you set it up properly. The thing is that the level of control is so granular that I hope people understand is as you scroll on your screen, on your phone, the very next image that you see is intentionally selected by Facebook and other social media organizations to maximize their profit, no matter what it cost you personally. And there's a lot of documentaries about it, but I just need people to understand that every single thing that you see on your phone is designed to get money from you and to exploit your information. And this is what we're fighting, James, because we've seen the perfect alignment between that technology side and Mark Zuckerberg and the white supremacy side and the likes of Tucker Carlson, Ben Shapiro, little Charlie Kirk, and even Professor. No, I'm not going to do that. Lieutenant Governor. The Lieutenant Governor from North Carolina. He may be black, but he's certainly aligned with white supremacy. James, you got to get me out of here before I get in trouble. Got to get me. I think I need to break it.
I can't even press the button. Funny part about it is some truth.
I'll make you move like your boots are on fire. I'll make you walk like you
got more coming. Right. This is what happens when Rebecca don't have her tail here, but that's okay. Everything good. And also what read this comment, Miss Nuru said, Ben, you're a 10-piece, and he's a 50-piece with fries, with blue cheese, with lemon pepper sprinkles. On it goes, Shade Dragon said, my name is Fisk, Reverend William Fisk. Shout out Spider-Man, Kingpin, okay? I cannot stand y'all. Good morning, Mama and Daddy. Good morning, Mama and Daddy. If y'all are in the room, I know y'all are somewhere. Good morning to y'all and good morning, Q. Hope y'all are having a good morning. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned. We got more coming up next with Like It or Not, y'all.
Like 1, 2, 3, clap your hands. Just clap them for me. Give them a clap. Like 1, 2, 3.
Shout out to my brother Rico that's watching as well too. Rico, what's going on, brother? Good morning.
Like 1, 2,
3. Hey, real quick, y'all. Had a good, what's the word I'm looking for? Had a great accomplishment yesterday. So yesterday I burned 2,000 calories. Yay, 2,000 calories. I left my food in the oven for too long. Yeah, y'all know I ain't got no dang on sense, y'all. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned. We got more coming up next, okay?
Oh, I keep sinking into your blue, into your blue. Yeah, I keep sinking into your blue, into your blue. Stars, I keep seeing stars inside your eyes. In my mind, I'm holding on to all the sparks flying through the dark while we collide. Tell me that I'm all you ever wanted. Take me to a crowded place.
Roxy Bruce, I appreciate you. Starshine Dragon, good morning. Nat, hey, what's going on, Nat? Royal Runner, yo, rapping stuff. I got my girl on a Fitbit, keep her booty real fit. Come on, Royal Runner, what's up? Let's go.
Oh, I keep singing.
Chuck Diesel, oh, man, shout out to Chuck Diesel. Chuck Diesel say out this, my song is sleazy. It's sleazy bubble time when I play the song. Chuck, I can't stand you, brother. But man, I'm looking forward to seeing y'all on Friday. Friday night, y'all, it's going down. Friday night, don't forget. Patron party, Friday night, 80s, 90s theme. You don't want to miss it. Make sure you have your face in the place. Patreon.com/liking and not Patreon.com/the BPD show. Get y'all tail on there so y'all can get access to Patron party, man. I want to see 100 of y'all. 100 of y'all. 100. HUNNID. 100 of y'all. In the Patron party on Friday, y'all, okay? 9 p.m. if I'm not mistaken, all right? Y'all stay tuned. Hello, mother. Mother pops in and says, Bubba, Mama, I've been calling your dang name all morning. Dang, woman. Good morning, mother. All right, perfect. All right, y'all. Y'all welcome back to the screen. My brother from another mother, Benjamin.
James.
See, I got my techno going on now. I'm all over the place.
man, we got range, man. We got range on this show.
Absolutely.
I want to shift to a couple of stories, just a couple of headlines, and we'll discuss them at length when the internet in Atlanta gets fixed, because that's where Azor is this morning. Queen Azor is this morning, and we kind of get we get besides ourselves when Rebecca's not here. So we need a teacher to get back to class as soon as possible.
Can't stand you. I have nothing to do with this conversation, Rebecca. It wasn't me.
It wasn't me. The New York Police Department union president has resigned after the FBI raided his home and his union office. I'm reading from CNN. This was breaking news this morning. The president of the New York Police Department's second largest union resigned Tuesday night after the FBI searched his home and the union's headquarters early in the day, according to a letter obtained by CNN from multiple sources. We have some audio of that story, and Dwayne, thank you for being Johnny on the spot. I did it in the complete opposite order. Let's take a listen in to the update on the resignation of this union executive.
Well, for starters, Nicole, we know the SBA president, Ed Mullins. He's known for having a fiery personality, oftentimes taking to social media to battle it out with city leaders. Well, now today there are new developments for this controversial leader. FBI officials raid the offices which he oversees. It is still unclear at this time why the raids actually took place on Worth Street here in Lower Manhattan, but we were there as the agents carried out their federal investigation. A handful of FBI agents exited the SBA SBA offices holding on tight to 2 boxes filled with undisclosed objects as they headed directly into their field offices at Federal Plaza. The agents refused to answer any questions regarding their morning raid at the SBA and another raid at Ed Mullins' home in Port Washington, Long Island. Mullins is the president of the union, which represents 13,000 active and retired NYPD sergeants. Mullins has publicly battled it out with high-profile figures. He is facing a separate departmental disciplinary trial for releasing information on social media about Mayor Bill de Blasio's daughter's arrest during a Black Lives Matter protest. In his daily briefing Tuesday, the mayor confirms the FBI raid is connected to an ongoing investigation. Now, under Mullins' nearly 2 decades of leadership, the union has been fighting for better pay, with contracts resulting in a 40% pay increase. I reached out to Mullins' attorney for a response, but I have not received a call back yet. Back to you, Nicole.
Whoa. The most important part of that whole conversation was the last sentence when she said police union contract negotiations yielded a 40% increase in their salary. I would like to hear from the teachers unions. I want to hear from some other unions. Have y'all ever been able to get that kind of increase? And that's why I labeled this as a union issue, because we got to understand that there's a fundamental difference between what the police unions do and what other unions are good. But we're going to find out just how bad police unions are in this investigation. And no, I don't, trust the FBI, or I'm not championing the FBI. I got we black folks keep our side eye to them, But at the same time, we're going to sit back and watch them fight. Let them fight. James.
I would trust the FBI over regular police. And don't trust neither one of them, but if I have to choose, it's going to be the FBI. I mean, CIA, maybe. I don't know too much about this. I'm lying. I do know.
No. Let me tell you, James, trust me. No.
We're not mentioning neither one of them. Okay, I don't want no smoke.
Don't say this. Don't say the CIA name 5 times, man, because it's like they got people everywhere, bro. They taking out black leaders all over the globe. Man, let me get out of that. Go ahead.
Ben, please, God dang it, man, because guilty by association, bro. Please, come on.
Oh, I'm sorry, James don't got nothing to do with this.
I ain't got nothing to do with it. I ain't got nothing to do with it. I work at no, that's okay. But yeah, man, I'm interested to see what the rest of this investigation is going to yield, because I think it's going to bust a lot of stuff open with these police union, the police, cops, everything. So hopefully, I'm hoping, but we all know how it turns out. But putting out there in the universe, good things are going to come from this.
Yeah. No, I mean, listen, and we have to understand the FBI is a political organization. It just simply is, right? I know they try to set themselves aside as being separate and above political influence, but you got to see what happened with the FBI underneath Donald Trump, right? You can see the twisting of the arms, and they try to have a firewall. I give it to them. They try to keep a separation, but you also have to consider the fact that there's a lot of these ideologies inside the FBI itself, right? White supremacy is not germane only to local policing, right? So we understand very clearly what the FBI is, and the reason I'm taking my time with that is because there's a little bit of judo that's trying to be rhetorical judo, particularly as it pertains to this investigation, because they're trying to neutralize our opposition to this form of white supremacy. I want to be clear. Police unions are an extension of white supremacy, and white supremacists are mounting their firewall to protect the police unions. James, in the exact same way that we saw Tucker Carlson, Little Charlie Kirk, Candace Owens all step up to help Nicki Minaj in the Trinidadian testicular gate, right? The same way they stepped up to protect Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin because they're helping to protect white supremacy by defending the filibuster. Right? We're seeing it right here in this. And what they're saying is that, how can you dare trust the FBI? I don't. But I trust police unions even less.
And I'd be there. I don't even know if I'm going to say that. But I'm going to say it. I think a lot of times, most of these police unions, that's where it contains most of the crookedness comes from that union. I mean, I hope not. I mean, I don't know enough, but
you're not far off.
It makes sense. Makes sense.
Bro, listen to what he did to Mayor de Blasio's black daughter, young woman, during the Black Lives Matter protest. Ed Mullins is the one who essentially doxed her. I mean, that's some malicious, malevolent, evil, sadistic stuff coming from the top leader of the police union. So if you really are going to make us choose, if you think that we're incapable of deciding between two evils that we're going to land on here, whether or not we're going to trust the FBI, who was complicit in the murder of Fred Hampton. Yeah, we know that. Who's complicit with trying to have Martin Luther King kill himself. No, we know that perfectly well, right? Who's complicit with so many things throughout American history. Do we have love and affinity and affection for the FBI? No. But you know who is the greater devil in this equation? The people who can muscle out of our community a 40% increase in their wages while the people who are suffering in the community can't get $15 an hour.
You better say that.
Sorry, James. Rebecca, you got to come in here and tell some jokes, sis. They done left me. On the day that I'm wearing all black, they don't let me.
That's what it is. You know when, excuse me, you know when black people put on all black,
they lose their mind.
The hotel, the ancestors, the spirit, everything come out.
Oh man, let me check my notes. I didn't
using that brother today.
Okay. Man, let's shift gears. Let's bring in this brother. He's been patiently waiting, and I'm excited about discussing this Facebook issue with you. He is Ahmed Baba from Rant Media, a progressive independent media company that's also a technology company. He has been on our show before. Brother, thank you so much for joining us. How are you this morning?
Hey, I'm doing good. I can't come in with jokes though, because Facebook stuff, you know, I wish I'd come in to lighten the mood after you brought that fire, but you know how it is.
It is such that it is. So man, listen, you've been covering, I want to play this first clip. You've been covering extensively over there at Rant Media, the Facebook whistleblower situation. I want to play the first clip from her testimony, and then I want you to just help us to understand the significance of what is happening in this moment.
Sure thing.
Mark holds a very unique role in the tech industry in that he holds over 55% of all the voting shares for Facebook. There are no similarly powerful companies that are as unilaterally controlled. And in the end, the buck stops with Mark. There's no one currently holding Mark accountable but himself.
Now, there's a whole lot more testimony, and we'll play it in a minute, but you know all the nuances of it. Help the audience to understand what's going on and why it's important.
So obviously, as she just outlined there, I mean, Zuck is the center of all of this. He's the one that's made every decision. Yeah. He's the one that set the motto, move fast and break things. Little did he know he was going to go on and break societies across the world and children's mental health and democracy and pretty much almost everything that we touch in our lives. But essentially, what the gist of her overall testimony, why it's significant, is a lot of what she broached, we knew, right? I mean, we knew Facebook was allowing disinformation to proliferate. We knew that this was really just running rampant and that they weren't really doing much about it. But now she provided tens of thousands of documents that essentially confirmed that not only we knew this, but they knew. And they had research that confirmed that children were being negatively affected by Instagram. They had, it was 13% of girls who use Instagram were suicidal. They had their own research that showed they only took action on 3 to 5% of hate speech while they were publicly saying, oh, well, you know, we're making great strides, right? So the big difference here is that we have someone from the inside who worked on their civic integrity team since 2019 coming out and saying, this was wrong, I saw it from the inside.
That's a lot, man. That's a lot. I want to run the second clip where she outlines a lot of what you just said. And I need folks to understand we're talking about a nation bigger than China with an economy that rivals some nations. Facebook is a behemoth, and they have influence, and not just Facebook. We got to make sure everybody understands. It's Instagram especially. They understood. Mark Zuckerberg understood exactly what he was doing to American people. Let's take a listen into this next clip.
When we realized big tobacco was hiding the harms it caused, the government took action. When we figured out cars were safer with seatbelts, the government took action. And when our government learned that opioids were taking lives, the government took action.
Yeah, check that out.
I implore you to do the same here. Today, Facebook shapes our perception of the world by choosing the information we see. Even those who don't use Facebook are impacted by the majority who do. A company with such frightening influence over so many people, over their deepest thoughts, feelings, and behavior, needs real oversight.
Brother Baba, what are your thoughts?
I mean, she's right. You know, I mean, Facebook has, you know, the biggest thing about this is that Zuck himself, right? He went in front of Congress and essentially, I don't want to say they lied, but he gave information that was contradictory to his own research. He said that, you know, the mental health of children was not being affected, right? That they saw positive effects while they knew their internal research was showing X. And her big tobacco comparison is perfect, right? Because she's essentially saying that this company knew it had widespread impact on the mental health, the democratic health, the overall, I mean, now essentially with the anti-vaccine stuff, the literal physical health of our nation, and they just continued to do their same practices. And that's what big tobacco did. That's what big oil did. That's what big pharma recently with the opioid crisis did. And now big tech seeing that similar reckoning, and she's right. They need to be regulated. And luckily there's some, I mean, although like for different reasons, obviously they want to regulate Facebook. I mean, Republicans for, you know, for a lot of times false reasons, but they're in agreement. So it could potentially happen.
James, jump in there, man.
Oh no, yeah, you said it all. I've heard some horror stories as well too. I have, for the sake of protection, I know somebody that worked in there that has shared a few stories, and you know, Facebook. I've heard a lot of horror stories from multiple people that have worked with Facebook and that were like in the inner sanctum part ways, and it's a lot. And you know, they try to make it seem like everything is diversity and inclusion and all of this, and it's really not. A lot of racist stuff going on. It's a lot. It's a whole lot.
That's exactly what I want to ask, Ahmed. Why do people assume that technology is somehow inherently non-racist and non-biased or unbiased?
It's a good question. I think because there's a mechanism, you know, there's not a thinking brain behind a lot of the technology, right? They'll think, okay, AI, you know, that's why Facebook always says, okay, AI will solve the hate speech, right? But we don't look, a lot of the times there aren't diverse hands behind the keyboard coding that AI, right? Coding that machine learning, making sure the algorithms don't have those biases, right? If you don't have a diverse team of engineers, how are you going to be able to essentially code the technology we're using to not have racial biases of the people who are coding it, right? So like there's a diversity within the company that's impacted. And I think a lot of people just don't necessarily see, like, especially when it comes to machine learning, I think people are getting a crash course now, like the way Frances Haugen like laid it out was real human, right? She talked about the effect. She didn't like go in and talk about like the, you know, she didn't use programming language and didn't like try to lay it all out in a way that we couldn't understand, right? So she laid it out for us. We understand, the general public understood. One of the things I've heard from people just around that don't really pay attention to technology were like, hey, like I understood, like I'm not an engineer, but I got what she was saying. So I think she's going to help to break that down. And then I think the next step is talking about, I'm glad you brought that up, because there should be like a real like racial reckoning in there, right? Of the fact that there's not as many, when there aren't people of color in the engineering room, the technology itself can't really factor in these biases, right?
Right. And then there's the other obvious elephant in the room, not just the racial component of the algorithm. We got to talk about the sexism, the patriarchal part. This algorithm is uniquely designed for hate speech and hate sentiments and the degradation of women. And people are surprised, but why would they be surprised when the guy behind Facebook got his whole start exploiting women?
This is true. I mean, face smash was a thing, right? I mean, he did the thing that went on to destroy democracy he was just trying to compare girls' faces in his dorm room, right? Originally, right? I mean, we all know the story. And like, it's no surprise it'd go on to like you'd create, when you don't create technology with the foundational principles of we're going to do this right, we're going to do this safe, we're going to put in these safeguards, it will let loose. We saw this with Clubhouse that didn't learn from Facebook's mistakes, right? You can't not learn from the past 10 years of social media and just drop a new app without taking these factors into play. Because you're right, like the algorithm, there was one experiment that Frances Haugen outlined where basically a new user joined and all they did was like Donald Trump and Melania Trump's Facebook page. That was it. And then all of a sudden, within hours, they're getting fed QAnon groups. And then they're getting fed and then within days, they're getting fed white genocide content. Like, You're making a leap there, algorithm. Wow. Like, that's not the fault of the user. The user liked Melania Trump and Donald Trump. They didn't say, I want to join a white supremacist group. Like,
right.
James. Man, that's like one of us going to click on, I don't know. I don't even have a good comparison, man. That's wild, bro.
It's, like people try and blame the user, right? But like, they're just simply liking stuff that they like. And then Facebook's like, oh, okay, you like Donald Trump. You must also like the KKK. Here, join this group.
There it is. There it is. I found it.
Right.
You like Donald Trump, you must like Hitler. That's what it is.
Okay.
You like Marjorie Taylor Greene, you must like Ava Braun. I mean, come on, let's
exactly. Yeah.
There was some, but those algorithms are not self-written. They're written. Exactly. The software. They're written by people. And right now, we know very clearly. Listen, I worked for a tech company. Got my start at one. Fabulous. This is the only company I can vouch for. Really dope company. Shout out to HubSpot. Come on the show. But it was all white. It was all white folks at that company, man. Like every tech company right now, you're going to see an overabundance of white men. Is that because we don't have black coders? Is that because we don't have women coders? Or is it because, everybody hires their friends. Everybody hires somebody they know. They see a similarity. They see connected threads. They see their identity. They see themselves reflected in that person. And then when they see a black person, or if they see a woman, and God forbid they see a black woman, then that comfortability is threatened. So, I mean, maybe diversity and inclusion is not enough.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point, right? Because as you know, obviously he's an entrepreneur too, and I'm out in New York now, and I'm going to these, tech spaces. And luckily, there are people trying to do these diversity inclusion events and things of that nature. But there's no shortage of talent. The talent is out here. There are black and black women, especially engineers. There are brilliant people in product that are just waiting to be hired. But like you said, the same thing with, one of the things you'll hear from founders or entrepreneurs even is like, okay, get a warm intro to that VC, right? It's like, okay, I don't know any, right? At first, right? First, you don't know any, right? Or they say, go raise a friends and family round, right? Of funding. It's like, oh, well, my friends and family don't own hedge funds. So that's difficult, right? So it's like, there's all these biases built in to this thing where it's like, it really is kind of a referral basis of recruit your friends. And if you don't have many black female friends or black friends, you're going to just recruit more people that look like you, right? So I think luckily there's a paradigm shift going on, and more people are kind of just creating their own things, and more people are kind of just, a lot of VC firms, a lot of new black entrepreneurs raising money, a lot of people who made it are giving back, and not giving back, they're making investments. These are actual investments in people. And hopefully this paradigm shifts because the talent is out here. It's just, you're right, man. There's no shortage. It's just the fact that the people who are in there right now look a certain way. And a lot of, obviously, some of them are great, and a lot of them are, do try to give back, but we do need more representation in the room to make these decisions.
Hey, brother, I don't know what kind of time you got. We're getting ready to kick it over to the after party, and Rebecca Azor is going to be joining us. And I want to tell the audience about my time in the tech industry, going to the very first diversity and inclusion meeting that the company ever had. And I'm sitting there thinking everything is fine, and they start talking about all the things that are happening in society, Trayvon Martin, all those things, and I'm just sitting there and having flashbacks of radicalism. I'm like, no, don't wake up this demon in me. I want to tell y'all about that. Patreon.com/like it or not. Brother, tell everyone how they can get up with you, particularly your article that you wrote about this over at Rant Media.
Yeah, so you can essentially follow Rant Media at Rant with 2 T's on Twitter and all social media. Follow me at Ahmed Baba _. And also, I wrote that article for The Independent, dropped it yesterday. It's on my Twitter feed. The headline's right there on the Chiron, why Facebook should be worried. I think regulators are coming for them. Hopefully they do something. But yeah, come find me on social media. I'm on IG too. All the stuff's in my link tree on Twitter. So let's connect.
That's what's up. Ahmed, Baba, thank you so much for joining us. DJ Exclusive,
yes, sir.
Take us over to the after party. Rebecca Zor is joining us. We'll see you right after this.
Ahmed, thank you so much for joining us this morning, man. Make sure that y'all go follow Ahmed Baba _ on Twitter and Rant with 2 T's on Twitter as well. Make sure you go follow, like the so we'll see everything. Okay? And again, thank y'all so much for joining us this morning. If you have not already, patreon.com/like it or not. Patreon.com/like it or not. Patreon.com/the BPD show. What's that? What was the Will Smith show?
Let someone in and give you some help. It's funny how you finally feel like yourself.
All right, y'all. Make sure that y'all stay tuned about the after party and as a for today. Y'all get it one more time, but as soon as this song ends, the stream will end and we'll be in the after party. You get access to the after party yourself. Patreon.com/like it or not. Patreon.com/like it or not. Or Patreon.com/the VP. So one more again, here we go.